Every soul shall taste death. But what happens in the first hour after we depart from this world? Are we prepared for the reality that awaits us beneath the soil? Assalamu alaikum, dear viewers. Today we deep dive into a thought-provoking topic in Islam, the first hour in the grave, a time that determines our fate in the hereafter. Imagine a moment. Your soul, which has departed from your body at the time of death, comes back to it. This reunion happens in the grave, where the body has been buried. The grave is not merely a resting place, it is a realm filled with darkness and solitude. In Islamic teachings, the grave is seen as a place of reckoning, a critical period where the deceased is evaluated or questioned about their life and deeds. The grave reacts to the person buried in it based on how they lived their life. If the person did good things while they were alive, the grave would be a welcoming place. However, if they did bad things, the grave would show its displeasure or dislike towards them. The grave will become very tight and squeeze the body for sinners and disbelievers of Allah and His messengers. This squeezing is so intense that it's said the person's ribs will press into each other. Then, in the grave, the powerful and formidable angels Munkar and Nakir will appear, their eyes glittering like lightning. Their voices are as loud and powerful as thunder, and their hair reaches their feet. The distance between their shoulders is a mile apart, and there is not an ounce of mercy in their hearts for disbelievers. These are the beings who will ask three critical questions. Who is your Lord? What is your religion? Who is this man? Referring to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. You might think answering these questions is very simple, as anyone can say that the Lord is Allah Almighty, the religion is Islam, and Prophet Muhammad is Allah's messenger. However, answering them won't be easy for everyone, especially for those who lived their lives carelessly, neglecting their religious duties and the teachings of Islam. The Quran reminds us that those who followed their desires, like greed, selfishness, or other worldly temptations, made their desires their Lord. Instead of knowing Rasul Allah, they preferred to follow celebrities, rich business tycoons, film actors, and sports persons. They chose to party, drink, and indulge in bad doings, which are restricted as per Islamic teachings throughout their lives. How, then, can such personalities answer these questions? During this time, they feel extremely regretful in the grave, but the past cannot be changed, and they must face the consequences. Now, the angel strikes them with such force that sparks will spread throughout the grave, and then asks them to look above. They will see a glimpse of paradise, a place of great joy and reward for those who have lived righteously. It's a moment of painful reminder that they could have been in paradise if they had made different choices in life. Then a door to hell opens, showing the harsh and unpleasant truth that they may face punishment in hell because of how they lived their lives. Thereafter, an ugly, frightening, and unpleasant-looking figure appears in the grave. This figure symbolizes all the bad things the person did during their life. The person buried in the grave asks, "Who are you?" The ugly figure, which stinks badly, replies, "I am your bad deeds." The figure continues saying, "Allah has given me a body so that you can experience your wrongdoings in your grave." This realization is so dreadful that the person starts crying and begging for Allah's mercy. After this, blind and deaf tormentors enter the grave. Why blind and deaf? So that they cannot see the disbelievers crying or hear them begging. They will have a hammer, and when they strike it on a mountain, it will turn to dust. When they hit the disbelievers, the sound of this hit will be heard by all of Allah's creations, except for humankind and jinnkind. But remember, my dear friends, at this time in your grave, it is too late for seeking Allah's mercy. And this is an obvious symbol of how our actions in this world shape our experience in the grave. The physical or mental suffering that happens in the grave after death is beyond what we can think or imagine. The Quran and Hadiths describe it many times, very clearly, detailing unending punishments. One such example is where 99 serpents will be sent to the grave, and they will keep biting until the day of judgment for those who turned away from Allah's guidance. This description is not just to instill fear, but to remind us that after we die, we will be held accountable for our actions. Our life in this world is a test, and our actions have consequences. This implies that what we do in this life will affect what happens to us in the afterlife. Islamic scholars have extensively written about life after death, from the barzakh, the stage between death and the day of judgment, to the eventual resurrection, when all people will be brought back to life after death on the day of judgment. Every stage is a testament to Allah's justice and mercy. Let's take this knowledge as a reminder to live a life of righteousness, following the path laid out by Allah and His Messenger. May Allah guide us all and grant us a good ending. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more insightful content. Until next time, stay curious and stay blessed.